Pope is dead. The throne is vacant.
The conclave begins now. We're about to choose the most famous man in the world.
And 1.25 billion souls watching.
That was a trailer from the Oscar award-winning film Conclave, a political thriller that depicts the highly secretive process of electing a new pope, a process that is about to play out in real life inside the walls of the Vatican. While widely popular since its release in October 2024, the death of Pope Francis has reignited new interest in the film. Streaming views, get this, up 283% just on Amazon Prime. The movie is based on the 2016 novel of the same name by Robert Harris and is a very close adaptation to that book. The author himself joins Top Story tonight. Robert, thank you so much for coming on to talk about your book and, of course, the film that made it so popular as well. You spent a lot of time researching and thinking about conclaves. I want to show our viewers some side-by-side images, obviously in a very respectful manner because of what's happening in the real world right now. The real footage from the past few days is on the left, and footage from the movie is on the right. Scenes like the sealing of the Pope's door after he passed away, and footage of the cardinals arriving at the Vatican from around the world, some of them meeting for the first time, seen having conversations in the square. It seems like your depiction is pretty close to reality from the research you've done. How similar is the real-life conclave to what we see in your book and the movie?
Well, thanks for having me on. I was a journalist before I became a novelist, particularly a political journalist. And my novels, I do a lot of research, and that's part of the pleasure of writing them. So I went into a lot of depth to try and get the conclave in the novel that was translated into the film as accurate as I could. I invented my own college of cardinals, 110 men, gave them all their ranks, and followed the whole process. The process of the conclave, as you know, is very precisely laid down by the Vatican. So I had the whole structure of the various ballots and the processes that are now beginning. And then I tried to invent cardinals who were similar to the ones in real life. And broadly, they're the same factions that we see playing out now. Conservatives versus liberals, cardinals from Africa and Asia and Europe and America, all thrown together in this extraordinary place. So yeah, it is really as close as I could come to a kind of documentary realism of what a conclave is like.
I'm curious, how much of your book, and specifically the Pope who dies at the beginning, was inspired by Pope Francis?
Quite a bit, to be absolutely honest with you. I took the fact that he, when he was elected, chose not to go and live in the apostolic palace, the grand rooms, apartments that the Pope normally inhabits, but chose to remain in the hostel, really kind of like a private clinic or something. It's a rather antiseptic environment, as is shown in the film. Rather than go and live in the grand place, he liked to use kind of very ordinary transport. He liked to eat in the cafeteria with the nuns and quite often with sick people who would be invited in. He made an elaborate show, in a way, of being humble. And this antagonized quite a lot of the old guard in the Curia, as it's called, and set up the conflict that has already taken place before the novel opens. And so, yes, I did take quite a lot from the late Pope.
You know, a lot of the questions that I've been asking to our correspondents that cover both the Vatican and cover conclaves and this historic moment is how much of what we saw in the book and also in the movie, those sort of whisper campaigns, the conversations that happen in the square, the conversations that happen behind closed doors, really go on as they start to think about the new pope?
Well, I mean, a lot is the truth. I mean, the official line is there's no canvassing, and in a broad, crude way, as in a secular election, that is true. But of course, this is the election of a man who presides over 1.4 billion people. This is to be God's representative on earth. This is, if you like, the ultimate election. So of course there's some politics, because there are differing views, and where you get differing views, you get politics, and that does go on. It happened. There are 4 ballots a day once the conclave really gets going, 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. They break for lunch, they break for dinner, and it's over the meal tables, in the rooms, in the corridors, that obviously discussions of what has happened take place. And this constant resetting of the ballot after each vote, as they try to get towards a 2/3 consensus agreement, this is a highly political process, because it means that you can identify who looks most likely to win, and if it's not someone you want, then you tend to try and get behind a compromise candidate who might stop the front runner. That is what happened with when Cardinal Ratzinger was elected Pope Benedict. There was an attempt to stop him, centered, oddly enough, around the lately deceased Pope. And it's a highly political process. And that's what drew me in the first place to write the novel.
Why do you think people are so interested in this process, right? Because the Catholic Church right now is sort of at an inflection point. You have it growing in places like Africa and Asia, but not in America and Europe. You have this sort of struggle between conservatives in the Catholic Church and more progressives, like people like Pope Francis. But why do you think people are suddenly tuning into your film? I mean, on the way over here, I was telling people everyone was watching on the airplane. The streaming numbers are through the roof right now.
Well, I mean, it's the ultimate election, as I say. It's for something of immense importance. It's the most beautiful ritual. Takes place in one of the most beautiful buildings in the world that was built for this purpose, 500 years ago. The robes, the whole way in which it proceeds is extraordinary spectacle. That draws people in, I think. The historic nature of it, the unique nature of it, the smoke that emerges from the chimney. It's part of our culture, deeply embedded in it. The rituals of the conclave, and I'm not surprised that people are fascinated by it. I mean, it is extraordinary. It combines both the excitement of an American presidential election with the locked room mystery of an Agatha Christie novel. It's an extraordinary spectacle, and of course, we don't know who's going to win. Generally, we never do. It's very rare that the media predicts the winner, because once they get behind closed doors, what we in the secular world would call momentum in an election, and they call the movement of the Holy Spirit, takes over and someone emerges. And it's fascinating, and we sit locked outside wondering what on earth is going on inside.
Robert, congrats on all the success of your book and, of course, the film as well. We thank you for joining Top Story tonight. And we thank you for watching this special edition of our broadcast from the Vatican. I'm Tom Llamas. Stay right there. More news on the way.